So a favorite failure, um, and there have been so many, but the one that comes to mind for me is, when would this have been? Like 2016, 2017? I have no sense of time, but something around there. I had a new edition of my then latest book, now, many books ago. Um, but my then latest book, the new edition was coming out. We're doing a really big launch that was going to lead into our program. We had over 100 partners lined up. It was like the launch to end all launches. There were tons of elaborate plans, nuance, sophistication. I was very proud of it. And at the 5 yard line, we fumbled the ball. So, little split second of human error, someone setting up emails in our email system checked the wrong box in the email system, and 83% of our leads didn't hear from us at all during the core window of the launch. And, we eventually figured it out. We tried to recover, but like momentum was lost. We calculated later that ended up costing us $750,000 in lost sales. And I mean, it was still a 7-figure launch. And, I'm fortunate to be able to say that, okay, we only made $1.5 million and it was terrible. But we weren't such a big company that we could afford to lose $750,000 of what we had calibrated and worked to build and allocated investment in order to create. And so there were a ton of lessons that came out of it. But the reason I think back on it now fondly is, first of all, it sucked. It was awful, but I think I handled it well. And the further removed you are from a challenge, the less the difficulty of the challenge matters to you, and the more you care about, did I show up well? And that's a really good kind of takeaway and reminder for me. And so it holds a place in, because, I can't say that I handled every setback perfectly, but this one I handled well. And the other thing is just that, Scott Galloway likes to say that nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems. And right now I'm wearing the shirt, this too shall pass. And it was like the biggest thing going on. It was awful. And now, it doesn't even carry an emotional weight or charge. It's like, oh yeah, it's a thing that happened. Because so much has happened since then. There have been lots of ups, there have been downs, there have been challenges, there have been learnings, and this was just one of those things. So there's this great graphic that I saw somewhere where it says, there's 3 boxes in the comic and 3 captions. So the first one, you see a guy looking at a giant circle, enormous compared to him. And it says what it looks like leading into it. And then the second box is the guy carrying a much smaller but still larger than him circle or boulder or whatever. And the caption says what it feels like when you're going through it. And then the third one, you see the guy, and behind him there's this little dot, and it says what it feels like afterwards, right? Or how you remember it. And just that whole thing kind of comes full circle for me. It's like the hardest thing that you're dealing with right now, usually, in a bunch of years, it just won't have been that big of a deal. But what you will care about is how you showed up.